Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Sports Adrenaline LV show. Tony Cardasco, John Castellino, Matt Gutierrez, and we'll have a special guest that we'll introduce here in a moment.
Seconds.
The big news today, the lease agreement, the only topic on the Stadium Authority Committee on their agenda today. The lease agreement was unanimously approved today, and now it goes to the NFL owners for review at next week's meetings. And our special guest on tonight's show joining us now live in the studio, and a very special guest because it's been a huge day here in Vegas, is Tommy White from the Laborers Union, Local 872.
The man that made the motion to approve the lease agreement.
The lease agreement,
He is
yes,
here with us.
and on the stadium committee. Only 9 members are on that committee. Welcome to the show, Tommy. And, you know, when you and I spoke earlier this week, you were saying that your union began building the Hoover Dam. You've built hotel casinos all over the Strip. And this is a project that I feel has a lot more emotion and passion in it than a lot of other projects. Are you starting to feel that? And also, will the stadium be ready? That's the number one question. Will it be ready in time for the 2020 NFL campaign?
Well, first of all, thank you for letting me be here. And, Local 872, we've been around since 1937. We've built the bypasses. We've built all the big resorts here in town. So we, especially here in Las Vegas, we know what we have to build. With that statement coming out today about the LA Stadium being pushed back a year, I think we're going to wind up completing this stadium and get it done before LA Stadium. So that's what our goal is now.
Yeah, so that stadium, if you haven't heard, right? Inglewood, delayed a year because of torrential rains that they've had this season there.
And Tommy, I guess what does it say about, again, there's so much tradition with the 872 and just construction in general in Las Vegas. What does it say? And I think you can unequivocally say, right, that teams in Vegas, we can do a job better and faster than anybody else. And it's kind of funny how, LA's like, hey, we got a little rain here and that's going to slow us down a year.
Yeah, rain never slowed us down in Las
Right,
Vegas,
right.
so we don't have to worry about that.
Monsoon season, I mean, we get it too.
We get a couple of windy days, maybe a couple of rain days, but the one thing positive about Las Vegas when it comes to building, we can build 24 hours a day. That's how these resorts are built, and we've built several of them within 18 months and opened them up on time. Most of them under budget. So we're looking forward to doing the stadium.
Yeah, and I know T-Mobile Arena was that way, right, where they basically worked around the clock. Is that going to be what takes place here with this stadium here? So you're going to have crews basically working around the clock on this thing?
Yeah, you look at T-Mobile Arena, the stadium we're going to build for the Raiders is going to be tenfold. So we're looking forward to start pouring concrete, get the shovels in the ground, grade the dirt. Let's get out there and work.
Yeah.
I have to ask you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Well, I was just thinking though. Larry Brown was on another program that I hosted a couple of weeks ago. He said that you guys can probably get started as soon as November. Is that a correct timeline?
I'm hopefully that I'm thinking maybe we'll get the shovel in the ground by October.
In October.
I think that land out there is going to be graded before November.
I know there's been a lot of talk about the time frame and how long it's going to take you guys to get this thing done. And I've heard you guys come back with we can get it done in time for the Raiders to move in for the 2020 season. Realistically, when do you think shovel in the ground to opening that stadium up ready to play a football game in, how long is that going to be?
Well, if you look at City Center as like a big, huge project, right? We had City Center open in 3 years. Now, we don't have as much drywall. We don't have as much storefronts. We don't have as much glass. So, we really believe, and after speaking to a lot of the other crafts here in town, we could get this stadium done. I would say I'm counting on 28 months. I think some might say 33 months. I'm counting on 28 months.
Yeah.
I have a countdown clock that sits on my desk. So
I like that.
I love it, till opening kickoff. I want to back up for a bit, and let's talk about, again, the stadium committee that you're serving on. And really, you guys were kind of put under the gun by the NFL. Essentially, in the Raiders, they said, hey, we want this deal done before we start our next owners' meetings next week. What kind of pressure was that for the committee? And I know Steve Hill has done a tremendous job leading you guys, but did you feel the heat, and how much work was it to really get this deal done?
You could feel the heat. When the NFL wants something done, it's basically, hurry up and get it done. We wanted to make sure that the agreement we were putting together was going to be the best thing for Las Vegas. also for the best thing, which is our partner, the Raiders. We spent a lot of time, I mean, we're subject to the open meeting laws, right? So we really can't talk individually between each other. So we got to we have to get a copy of the lease agreement. We have to read it. We send our comments back. Jeremy Aguayo's fantastic. What a great job he does. And he puts it all together, sends it back. We read it again, send it back. So that's how your changes get done.
Yeah, were you panicked were you panicked at any point, or were you like, okay, I don't see how this is going to get done, but we've got to get it done?
No, last week we were down to maybe 2 things.
Yeah.
And that's why it was important to have this meeting today, get that done. The things that were down, I think it was very minor, but everybody had to get an approval on it. So I was very confident yesterday, probably the day before, that just as hard as all the stadium members were working on this, the board members were working on this, I knew we were going to have an agreement today.
And what was, out of this agreement, the most important aspect of it to you? And was there not a fight, but was there some give and take there? Were there some negotiating points that you really knew you needed to see in there for the local laborers out here?
We haven't really got to the construction part of the agreement yet. Bringing in the contractors now is going to be the big part, which from what I'm hearing and from what I'm seeing so far is going to be Mortensen and McCarthy. Mortensen has just finished that stadium in Vikings, and they've done a fantastic job with that. McCarthy, a local contractor, been here since the 70s. Couldn't get any better than that one either.
Yeah, Mortensen in 31 months knocked down the Metrodome, right? And then they constructed this brand new stadium, which is set to be state of the art. So it looks as though, and I think they have 170 plus projects that they have constructed. I wanted to ask you a question about construction in Vegas, because it kind of dried up there for a while, right? So from what I learned, a lot of people moved away, went to Southern California.
A lot of people they went to Southern California, Hawaii, Alaska. We've had members that they moved out and they joined other labor unions, and they were able to work there for several years. And now they're looking forward to coming back. We love our construction force here. We build world-class resorts, and we are so looking forward to building this stadium. This stadium is going to be a legacy for a lot of construction workers.
I know you mentioned the Viking Stadium a moment ago. Comparing this project with the Vikings project, you said it's going to be very similar. What are the positives about the Vikings project that you look forward to in the construction of the Vegas project?
I would probably compare the Vegas project to the Vikings project. I like the design much better from what I'm seeing on the Vegas project. Vegas Stadium is going to have that view. The glass is going to open. You're going to be looking right at the strip.
Right there on
That's
the screen.
awesome. Yep.
Yeah, it's we're going to have the retractable field, so the field's going to come out, slide back in. There's some things I'm hearing about the stadium that I'm not at liberty to talk yet, but it is going to be a world-class stadium.
If you can talk about them, are there any specific challenges within this stadium that you guys see going forward are going to be a little more difficult than maybe what you would generally anticipate in a project of this magnitude?
Based on seeing some of the renderings that I've seen, a lot of glass in the stadium, right? So if there's anything, probably manufacturing the glass would be a hurdle. But we're going to get this done.
Good. And we were talking about this before we came on here, Tommy, but again, and I know it's a priority for you and it's a priority for the board, but discuss how hiring local will be a major priority, and is it 50%? Is that the number that we're kind of shooting for of local?
We're shooting for 50% of local contractors and small business, and basically any business that's going to be able to get a piece of work on the stadium. And I also believe that's not only for the construction part, but I think it's for the infrastructure. It's going to be maybe small business running something inside, maybe a concession stand. We're trying to get everybody in the community involved in the stadium.
Tommy, the construction of the Las Vegas Convention Center addition, when will that begin? And then also combined, I was reading 13,000 permanent jobs. Where are we at as far as the number of jobs during the construction phase and then permanent jobs?
Well, I always compare what we had to where we are today. So, back if you go to 2006, Local 872, we had 5,800 members. City Center was booming. We had close to 800 people just on City Center alone. We're back at 3,200. So we're looking forward to getting back up to 5,800. We just did a fantastic apprenticeship class. Most of them were at the meeting today. They're looking so much, just to get to work. Great class, too. Very diverse class.
I know that you obviously have built a relationship with the Raiders in a pretty short amount of time, too. Tell us what that's been like. I mean, and I don't know, I know you're a Raider fan now. You were a Raider fan beforehand?
I grew up in Queens, right? So I was just talking to Mark about this today. We used to go to the Jets games because we used to collect milk carton tops or the labels off them, and that's how we got into, back then, with Shea Stadium. Now with City Field.
Boy, I wish that could happen with this new one, but I have a feeling that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I saw Namath playing at Shea Stadium.
Yeah, this is going to be, I can't say anything more about the stadium. We got in touch early on with the Raiders, and so we were part of this from the very beginning. And I think what happened was when the whole thing fell apart with the Sands and the Allison family, and both myself and Mark and the Sands, we were all talking, and when I saw it kind of spreading apart, I got with Mark and I said, we're going to stick with the Raiders. We want to build a stadium. And from that day going forward, we've been in contact, at least once, twice a week, just talking about stuff in general, just about Las Vegas, really. Not so much the stadium all the time now.
I've kind of learned throughout this process, again, I'm a native to Vegas, so when I first heard about the potential for the Raiders to come here, I said, no way in hell. That was my exact quote. And not so much on the Raiders side, but on the NFL side. And then at first I'm like, okay, Mark Davis, I don't know a lot about this guy. Can I trust him? And I've learned to trust them over time.
Right.
Can you tell us, because you obviously have firsthand knowledge with these people, why should Las Vegas trust them? I mean, they've brought us a long way, obviously,
right.
And I trust them now, but kind of sell the community, again, why these people have been so good to us.
I can tell you up until now, they have been a man of their word on everything we spoke about. Whether from the smallest detail up until, just like, I'll talk to you tomorrow, and then that phone call is there. So, with them coming out of Oakland and coming into Las Vegas, I'm sure this is new to them too. And, this is going to be a whole new life for their employees. They're going to have to bring a big staff from Oakland. So I think their staff from Oakland's looking forward to moving out here. I think the community out here is looking forward to going to work for the Raiders. Mm-hmm. And I look at the jobs after the stadium's built. You're probably looking at a couple of thousand jobs on that also, because it's not just a football stadium anymore. We're going to have 10 games a year for the Raiders. Then we're going to have UNLV. Then we're going to have concerts, probably soccer matches. So I believe they'll live up to the commitment of booking what they're supposed to have. I think it's 46 events. And it's going to be a lot of fun for all of Las Vegas.
Tommy, have you guys heard of any inquiries about the land surrounding the stadium, or is there anything you can discuss? Leave it to Vinny Boombatz here. Those questions at you.
I was talking to one of the contractors that owned a piece of property right across the street from the stadium.
And boy, that must be a nice piece to own.
Oh, he's kicking himself right now because he sold it last year.
Oh, no!
So, the property around, where they're going to build the stadium, you have a lot of warehouses and factories.
Mm-hmm.
And, probably the best two pieces of property that's over there are those two hotels that are sitting right there on that corner, right? So, they'll be booked for weeks in advance. They'll be booked now.
Yeah.
So, looking at the piece of land that you have out there, the Russell, what do they call it, Russell 62 site, right?
Yeah.
Do you see any hurdles? There's been a lot of talk about the size of the land and the parking and just wishing with all the space that we have in Vegas that they would have picked a site that had more room to play with. Do you see any hurdles with the size of that site, or do you guys feel like you're going to be able to fit the stadium, plenty of parking, and everything that comes with that as far as infrastructure is concerned?
Well, I believe we'll fit the stadium. I really don't see too many people coming to Las Vegas, except for tailgaters, which most of us are, driving to the stadium, right? So mostly everybody's going to wind up staying at one of the hotels, probably Ubering it or taking a Lyft over to the stadium. I also think they're looking at the monorail that's going to go right to the stadium, which would be fantastic.
Right.
Valley High Golf Course, Billy Walters on the other side. Who knows what's going to happen with that? who knows where his case is right now either, right? So that would be a perfect spot to have plenty of parking. I think right now they're about 3,500, 4,000 spots or something. I just don't see a lot of people wanting to drive to the stadium. I see more people wanting to go to the stadium and park in a hotel, park down all those streets around the stadium. I'm sure everybody's going to want, everybody's going to open up their garages for parking.
Yeah, that's the good thought.
And
I'll
now
have to
you're
see if I
going
can
to
find-
be, as I understood too from today's meeting, you're going to be the point person, correct? So everything funnels through you on every side?
I don't know if I'm going to be the point person for everybody.
breaking
but,
news.
As far as
Breaking
the
news.
construction?
I mean,
Did
I don't. If
misunderstand?
I'm the point person, I'm the point person. Up until now, it's myself and Labor's Local 872. I guess we've been the point person because we've been the one that's been most vocal about getting the stadium built. I just couldn't tell you. I'm not the point person for the stadium authority. That would probably be Mr. Chairman Steve Hill.
Yeah, but as far as getting this built, adhering to that timeline, moving it forward.
Well, you have here in Southern Nevada, you have 16 trade unions, right? Labor's is just one of them. So we'll be doing the concrete, and we'll be doing the underground plumbing up to the building. We'll be doing the working with the operating engineers doing the grading. And then you're going to bring in the carpenters. Well, carpenters will come. It will be Labor's, carpenters, operating engineers first. Then you'll bring in the electricians and the plumbers. Then you'll bring in the glaziers, the painters, and everybody else.
UNLV, that sublease is now called the UNLV Joint Use Agreement.
Yeah.
You got to change the language in that.
Give some props to UNLV, right? For well, really, UNLV. If you look at that, that's big for UNLV. I mean, the team deserves that. I think it's going to put the team probably way up on the
Yeah.
list now. I
No
mean,
other college is getting what UNLV's getting.
Well, and just think about the enthusiasm it's going to bring to the players and the fans for UNLV.
It can only help with recruiting, getting something like that
Oh, yeah.
in the city. I mean, in addition to the Fertitta facility that we've talked about, you're getting, a state-of-the-art facility on par with any in the NFL to really enhance a college football program that's been very subpar for the last several decades. So I can't see it going anywhere but up.
I think Tony Sanchez is going to bring that team where it needs to be. I think it's been a long time coming, and UNLV deserves a new stadium.
Absolutely.
And so do the fans.
I had one more topic, and you touched on it, but specific to infrastructure around the stadium, right? So the plan is to build out the monorail. What else can you tell us about what the Raiders, the Raiders have, as far as what I've been able to read, the Raiders have promised saying we'll take care of it. And that's all we've heard. So what can you dive into as far as setting people's minds at ease, I guess, of getting there and being able to have a good time while they're out there?
I kind of had like a short conversation with Mark about that, and I think the Raiders are really looking to give the fans the Raider experience, right? So I can tell you this: if the Raiders and Mark Davis give us a promise that they're going to make it happen, I believe they're going to make it happen. They are really looking forward to having this stadium and having the fans be extremely happy about what they're getting when they walk into the Raiders Stadium. So I believe we're going to get the parking issue worked out.
Yeah, and I guess up to this point, I don't have any real reason to argue against their word, right? Everything that they've done, again, has been on the up and up.
Yep. Again, I probably for the Raiders, this is like their first stadium, really. We're building this for them.
Yeah.
And they're just extremely happy just to probably moving into a brand new state-of-the-art facility and not play on a baseball diamond anymore.
It'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
No skin. No
So,
skin.
so obviously the most important question left then, have you traded the green and white for the silver and black?
Yeah. The biggest thing now that I keep getting asked by a lot of news channels here in town is when am I going to get my Raider tattoo? They want to film it. So
boy.
yeah, that's going to be coming probably this weekend.
Awesome.
All right, sounds good.
What is the next big milestone before we let you go on that timeline as far as you see?
I think we're going to be working on a community benefits agreement to get that done. We want everybody to feel comfortable about that. We want, there's language in there in the SB1 to ensure that there's a community benefits agreement put in place. So we want everybody to feel comfortable that there is going to be one there, and it's going to be we're going to live up to what we're supposed to in that agreement, and probably a little bit more.
Thanks so much for joining us, Tommy.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Tommy
Thank you.
White,
It's been great.
Laborers, Local 872. And that was just tremendous, by the way, the amount of support and all of your guys rooting and cheering at today's stadium committee meeting.
The momentum from my own members of Local 872 is fantastic. I mean, we have a crowd like that shows up. We've been tailgating for the past year?
Right. At the
Between
Wickham Las
the
Vegas
fire
sign.
trucks and the
Right.
18-wheelers
Oh, yeah.
and all the other stuff that we have. It was fun to bring that up to Carson City, too, to get this bill passed.
Yeah.
Thank
Tommy,
you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming down.
Thanks
We
for
hope to have
coming
you
down.
back.
We really appreciate it.
Anytime.
All
Yeah,
right.
Great.
We have another topic to talk about as far as the Raiders are concerned. We have another Hater Nation fan, I guess. Mark Cuban, add him to the fray.
Yeah.
So he said that the NFL is getting greedy with its move to Las Vegas. Says the NFL is going to a smaller market that's transient. Another example of chasing every last dollar that tends to backfire. So the owners just could not turn down the cash.
It was, it's not funny that you bring up Cuban, but I wasn't there. I had a photographer one time go out and talk to him. This was years ago about the prospects of bringing Major League Sports to Vegas. And the photographer that I sent down there asked him, and I guess it's true what he said, right? It's no knock to Las Vegas, but
Even though it feels like one.
yeah, exactly. It's a great destination for a team. It's a great destination for a team. And then he talk about, the transient hours. And I feel like it is a knock to Las Vegas, as you're saying.
And
It's
again,
just-
here we go defending
He won't
the city
directly,
again, right?
He won't directly call out Vegas. It's a
naysayer
great
nation.
city.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's a great atmosphere,
Fading
and that's
Vegas.
what his quote was, but he doesn't think it's going to work out. So again, he's just one of the many on the list that we'll be excited to prove wrong, when we sell out the Super Bowl. Obviously that'll be a sellout, but
No,
what you're
no
talking
question.
about, season after season of Raiders football.
What are the prospects, for a 2020 Super Bowl in Las Vegas now?
Oh, I love
that
it.
Inglewood
I
project
love
is
it.
falling
I
now far
didn't
behind.
read the
To be
story.
a full year behind.
I just saw it. So they just said it's rain in Southern
a
California.
lot of rain,
And
heavy
I get,
torrential rain.
Yeah, I guess I get that. But
It's
again,
a bad time to end the drought out there.
Tommy said it. It's just you find a way around it. And
Yeah,
granted,
but if
we don't
there's
have
water,
as
if
many.
there's water issues now, what's it
Yeah.
going to be like when the
Right.
stadium
Well,
opens?
Yeah.
2020 would be 55, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, 55.
Which
XL.
Roman numeral is
Is it XL?
LV.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
LV,
failed.
sorry.
I failed Latin.
Yeah.
I failed
How-
my Latin classes.
How do you beat that as far as
LV?
marketing
Yeah,
is concerned?
yeah, we got to do that.
Marketing.
Yeah.
The first ever Super Bowl in Las Vegas happens to be Super Bowl LV.
Let's start it. We're starting. Oh, you got it.
You couldn't ask for better timing for a project
We're all
to
over
fail
that.
than what we're looking
Yeah,
at
and
with,
hopefully
with LA.
the NFL is savvy enough to figure that out and go ahead and throw us the bone.
Jumping back on Cuban real quick, when I just want to, because I have to defend it. When are people going to realize that it's not going to be
Fading Vegas.
45,000 people from outside of town from other teams coming to this market to watch the Raiders play? This is a team that sells out stadium in San Diego with silver and black,
Right.
and that is a road venue.
Right.
People seem to forget that this is going to be their home market now. This isn't going to be a road market. This isn't, oh, people are just going to see a road game. This isn't New Orleans. This isn't New York. This is their home venue now. Fans are going to come here every single week. They're going to have season tickets here to support their home team. This isn't going to be an out-of-town venture anymore.
Well, and that's, if it was the Jacksonville Jaguars relocating, I think we'd have
It'd be a
concern
little
with that.
different,
Yeah.
right.
But it's not.
and they don't have a global fan base.
And getting to know you over this past year and going out to the Vegas sign for the draft party and getting to know Raider Nation. I know, covering sports in the city for so long, I know the Raiders are pretty important to the city. And I know as far as TV stations are concerned, TV stations would fight over the rights to preseason games for the Oakland Raiders. So nobody's fighting over the Jacksonville Jaguars, obviously,
I don't
out
believe
here.
so.
So again, I don't think. I mean, if you're not convinced to this point, then that's fine. But we will prove you wrong.
Get on board,
again when the open kickoff happens in 2020 or sooner.
Our man Rick Vallata reported today that there will be no gaming on the premises. That was in the lease agreement, but quite shockingly, I had never heard any reference previously that they were even considering anything with gaming.
It's that misnomer of Vegas that no matter where you're at, you can bet on
It's like
every
you
game.
have to mention
There's
it,
a sports window.
It has to be in that
everywhere
research.
you go. I mean, yeah, you know, you can go to a grocery store, you can go to a convenience store, and you'll see a video poker machine. But you can't. Sports gambling is such a different animal, and it's so much more regulated than what you get from just, you know, putting $5 in a machine and playing blackjack. It's such a different creature altogether, and I don't think people outside of this market understand what goes into regulating sports gambling in the city.
I didn't hear anything, and I listened to the good first maybe hour of the meeting as they were going, you know, line by line through these changes to the lease agreement. I didn't hear anything that was absurd, and I would jump on it. I'm not, you know, just rah-rah Raiders. I mean, you know, I'm rah-rah Las Vegas.
Right.
And I didn't hear anything in that negotiation, things being changed that really put me off and said, oh, you know, we're bending backwards for the NFL and the Raiders.
Yeah, I was pretty tame. I was in there for a while watching on Facebook Live,
Yeah.
but I did not post any of those
Good for you.
remarks that you might have previously seen
Good
the week before. Let's shift gears. I want to call this segment, What is Going On in the Night Hood? The Night Hood?
Okay.
All right.
Works.
Okay. Yeah, we
It's
need
in
a
the
graphic
hood.
for that. We'll work on that.
We'll work on that for the next show. Someone will steal it by the time we get back
Yeah,
on the
this
air
is
next
true.
week.
Yeah.
Chicago Wolves of the AHL announcing this week to become the first minor league affiliate of your Vegas Golden Knights. Big news. And they're not going to have to share with anyone, namely St. Louis.
That was obviously the biggest news because everybody was concerned that they were going to be sharing with another team and how's it going to affect our players and what kind of time they're going to be getting. So the fact that this is going to be solely a Knights venture is, I think, a big positive.
Yeah, George McPhee puts a lot of emphasis on his minor league teams, as he did with Hershey, PA. But have you guys ever been to Hershey, PA?
No.
It
Never
smells like chocolate.
Does it really?
And
I should go.
But I
in
guess
a-
I would expect so.
But in an over-the-top fashion. But in any event,
Is
they
it
won
like
3 titles.
McDonald's pumps out, you know, the air that smells like French
It
fries?
is
It's kind of
so-
like that.
It's just over the top bad. Like you never want to eat chocolate ever again in Hershey, PA. What I was going to say, 3 championships. You know, with the Capitals at Hershey, he's going to put a lot of emphasis on the minor league team.
Yeah, and I would like to know, and I guess the obvious reasons are, you know, we knew that the league wasn't expanding teams, right? But where did it go wrong? You know, did Vegas talk to, you know, I think Salt Lake City was on the board. That was a big one. I know there were a few cities that, was it Montana as well, that Bill Foley wanted to go into. What were those negotiations like to try to bring a new, you know, affiliate just for the Vegas team? I wonder where it went wrong. Was it you know, just not having anybody step up? Was it an arena issue? I'm a Chicago guy, so I'm cool with that. You know, I'll get my Wolves hat then, and I can cheer them on. But I'm curious to find out where it fell apart for a team that's closer.
It doesn't sound like Chicago's going to be the long-term option, though.
Right.
From what you've been seeing, it's
Right.
it's kind of
They've
a
gotta have
stopgap
one
for
that's
now.
closer, yeah.
Yeah, and then exactly, they need something that's closer. So, is Chicago just, you know, a 1, 2, 3 year plan, and then get something built on the West Coast, something closer to Vegas, something that they can
Well, we know
have a little more
it's a
control over?
multi-year deal. That's all that was announced. McPhee's never into announcing, you know.
I think it's 5 years. 5 years.
Is it? Oh, okay.
five?
Because I just saw
Was it 5 out of the
multi-year.
sheet? I thought I saw 5 years.
Okay.
They had a great article in Crane's Business News from the business standpoint.
Well, I don't subscribe to that. So.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
The Golden Knights. Oh, we have an answer to a question that we posed last week. So we know that the Knights are going to have the number 6 pick in the first round. Thank you to our friends from Sinbin. They will have a number 3 pick in rounds 2 through 7.
Right.
So just so
That is right. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, yeah, it jogged my memory. But yeah, so they
Just
get
wanted to
6
make sure
in the
that we
first round.
clarified it
and-
because everyone's stuck on the first round, like us, like I was last
Right.
week.
Then they revert to the 3rd pick in each of the subsequent rounds because they were given the 3rd best chance of getting that first pick in the draft. So that's where it reverts to after round 1. So who knows? You know, who knows where they'll pick up. But again, 6th pick, and we've covered this before. It's not a player that's going to be an impact player right away, it seems like. It doesn't seem. But then again, young team, maybe it is a pick that you bring up and call up early. Don't know, but you know, hopefully there's a few skill players that these guys pick up in the expansion draft and maybe through free agency. But I don't think the 6th pick in the expansion draft or in the draft in the down year for the draft is going to be somebody that we can hang our cap on as far as being an impact player this year.
Unless you get lucky, that's
Right.
the best you can hope for.
Right.
Yeah.
Also going on in the knighthood, Rick
Sell
Bronson,
it.
we gonna
Sell
use
it,
that?
buddy.
Are we
the
gonna use
director
that?
of player personnel. It was just, or player services, I should say. It was just announced 21 seasons with the Arizona Coyotes. This is the guy that does everything from like relocation of players to Vegas and getting them set with housing and travel on a day-to-day scale, and then also doing the scheduling. So it's a pretty big hire. It seems as though it's in capable hands there. 21 years in the NHL. And then in the knighthood, I hope that Marc-Andre Fleury is not
What is he doing?
the goaltender. I hope he's not the goaltender. No, I wasn't drinking wine today.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah, that's Matt's job. No, I hope that he's not the goaltender in our inaugural season. No sooner did I tweet out last night that Fleury was not going to make it through the first period, a barrage of a couple of more goals within like a minute of time, and they had to yank Fleury out of the game.
Who they put in? Because the other guy's hurt, right?
Matt Murphy.
Yeah.
Matt Murphy
Oh,
came in
Okay.
in relief, like with
Yeah.
about 7 minutes to go, I think, of the first period.
I know you're not a big Fleury supporter, but from what I've seen out there, fans really want to see Marc-Andre Fleury in net come opening day.
Yeah,
I think it's
Ante
the
Ranta.
name. I think it's a name.
Yeah, but I want
think it's-
Ranta from the
It's a guy
Rangers.
that generates. Well, because you're a Rangers fan, so
No, but I'm telling you,
I don't think that counts. John.
he's younger, and I think he's had a great season.
Right, but again, I think as far as a fan is concerned, they want to see that name. They want to see that.
All right,
that
I
buzz,
have
that-
an Ante
that-
Ranta jersey.
That placard they can
I
put
wanna
on the
be
back
able
of
to
their
wear.
jersey, and that says Fleury. And I mean, as long as we have a good netminder back there, I think
Yeah,
we're in good shape.
they're going to have their choice, right? So you're going to trust George because there will be several very capable goaltenders.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it is a name that people know. Ronta would be a name. I know who he is. Marc-Andre Fleury would be a name. But there are goaltenders out there, skill guys. And again, pick who you want, obviously. But hopefully, there's a few players here that folks can gravitate towards.
Between the pipes, Ben Bishop was a name that we heard repeatedly
Yep.
for quite some time, but he just signed a long-term deal with the Dallas No Stars. They still call them the No Stars. There's a lot of talk about that, but he said that he would have been interested had Las Vegas come calling, but Vegas, apparently the messages back to him, his agent, whatever, was that they were looking for a younger goaltender.
Okay.
I think that's going to be true of a lot of free agents going forward. It's going to be a desirable market. I mean, we all know about not having state tax out here and the cost of living, the convenience of this city, and the fact that you have a brand new arena to play in and an owner who's supporting you 110%. I think free agents are really going to want to check out this Vegas market going forward.
But what you're saying, Tony, is completely correct. I mean, they're not going after any 30-year-old guys. Shippy, I think he's either 31 now or will be 31 when the contract ends. I don't. But he's an older guy. But you're not going to see McPhee again go after any 30-year-old players unless it's a really short-term deal, and maybe it's one or two again to get fans excited. But the bulk are not going to be older folks like Ben Bishop.
We have jersey news.
No, we do. It will be available the day of the expansion draft.
I've heard differently. Is that confirmed now? Because now I'm hearing that the jerseys will be unveiled, but they'll be only available for pre-order. You won't be able to actually get one until maybe August.
Oh, come on.
No.
So the jerseys that the season ticket holders will be receiving as part of their season ticket package, are those like the high quality jerseys? I'm curious. And we don't know if they're the
We don't
home
even know what
jersey
the
or the
jersey
away.
looks like yet. Who
We don't know
knows?
if it's the dark or the white jersey, right? At this stage.
Well, I remember Bill Foley saying months ago when they were first going through jersey design that he liked the white jersey a lot better than the home jersey. So maybe just because of preference, that'll be the one that he wants to give out.
This is in the RJ. Steve Karp, May 5th, says not until August.
Not until August. I missed that one.
Yeah, I swore I saw something the other day that said they would be available the
I
day
hope they're available. You would
of
think.
the expansion draft,
Well,
June 21st.
What I read was because Adidas is putting out, I mean, these are all going to be brand new jerseys for every single team in the NHL, with 31 teams, right? Because it's no longer going to be Reebok, it's going to be Adidas who's going to be the main sponsor for all the NHL gear. So they're going to have to manufacture 31 teams worth of jerseys times however many jerseys they do for each team, which is why they're not going to be in abundance ready to go on that 21st
Yeah,
date.
so now this NHL.com, so we'll at least see them the 21st, but won't be ready till afterwards.
Rumors you may see him on the 20th. A couple rumors
Okay.
flying out there
Okay.
that they may be unveiled the day before, but
And then,
we'll see.
as
Hope
a
something
season
leaks.
ticket holder, I do get a jersey with 2 seats. I might be misquoting, but I think I remember. I don't think it's an authentic jersey. It's a replica jersey. That's what it is. I'm
Gotcha.
pretty sure that I remember reading that. I'm pretty sure I would have remembered if it was going to be an
It
authentic
might be worth
jersey.
more than some
Yeah.
of those seats for the season.
Right,
tickets,
right, exactly.
But I'm sure a lot of fans will be wearing those to games, the season ticket
Yeah.
holders. The NHL has to be concerned about TV ratings if, let's say, we supposedly have an Ottawa versus Nashville Stanley Cup final. There's no hotter team right now than the Predators. Since January the 10th, I looked up their stats, 34, 15, and 5, with a 24 and 3 tie record at home. I mean, that's a team that just really caught fire. They were just one game, I think, over 500. They're the number 8 seed. And you know what? I like them. I like Ottawa. I like Ottawa where they're playing this 1-3-1 like zone trap now, and it's really given Pittsburgh fits. Pittsburgh, the Penguins, a little bit banged up, but it's good to talk about some hockey on the show.
quick update. Anaheim's up 2-1 with 5 minutes left in the third.
Yeah, see, I like Anaheim. I think that they just have the size and the physicality. Over a 7-game stretch, and granted, Nashville has been playing terrific, as you pointed out. I mean, when you hold the Blackhawks to 3 goals in a series, that's going to get you going for sure. But I think the Ducks have the size and really just the brute force to wear them down. And maybe this one goes 7, but I like the Ducks to come out of there.
Well, most of the series have gone 7 so far, so why would this one be different?
Yeah.
Let's shift some gears again, and let's talk. We leave the knighthood, and we go to
I don't know if
the
I'm
Rebel
really on board
Beat.
with that.
Yeah, but keep selling it, Tony.
I'm
We'll
trying to
see
sell
where
it
we come
tonight.
out on.
UNLV Fan Fest is going on as we speak tonight at Town Square. Good thing the weather seemed to clear up outside. Coaches from the programs are all out there. There's giveaways for the game and games for the entire family. So that's a pretty big thing going on, Fan Fest. Congratulations to UNLV men's golf,
Yeah, there we go.
finishing as the regional champ to advance to the round of 30 at the NCAA Finals next week. First time in a dozen years that
Yep.
UNLV
In a minute.
Rebel Golf has won an NC2A regional crown.
And they did it, and I've been keeping tabs on this tournament from start to finish. They were nip and tuck with New Mexico the first 2 rounds.
First 2 rounds, right?
Right, they were going back
I saw
and forth,
that.
up and down on the leaderboard. Third day, windy conditions where they were playing at the home of Purdue. I believe it was Purdue.
It was West Lafayette, Indiana. Yep.
40-mile-an-hour gusts. Everybody shot insanely high numbers. UNLV shoots 11 over on the 3rd round and clinches it.
Good enough to win.
New Mexico had the lead going into the final day. I believe the Lobos shot 22 over par and just plummeted down the leaderboard. I believe they still finished in the top 5 to move on to the NCAA championship. But UNLV persevering and getting it done.
That's because they practiced reportedly in that 85-mile-an-hour wind storm that we had.
reportedly. Yeah.
No, I just made that
Wait,
up.
which one are you talking about? Yeah.
That's exactly right.
It hasn't stopped blowing for 3 weeks out here.
Some news on the basketball front in case you missed it today. Jalen Poyser has officially transferred to St. Bonaventure. Last year, I think they had a couple of players on the roster that were Canadian. I think an assistant coach from Canada, from the AAU program, was on that staff a year ago. Don't know if he's still there. But Poyser with the transfer, officially, good luck to him. And Dwayne Morgan, we have some more news about Morgan on the Rebel front.
Well, there was just in the RJ today, Marvin Menzies talking about it. It was a pretty brief article, but Menzies has Dwayne Morgan's back. And I understand why he has his back. And I'm paraphrasing here, but I believe he said they're going to do anything that they can for Dwayne. And Menzies did not say, hey, that doesn't mean that he may not come back, because that's still a very reasonable possibility. But he may not see the court again as a Rebel, but they're working with him off the court, is what the article talked about. And I understand why. Dwayne Morgan stayed at UNLV when so many other players did not stay at UNLV. So there's loyalty there, and I know we know a little bit more about the altercation that he was arrested for, which doesn't paint the best picture. But I understand Marvin Menzies' position here, and I think not to speak for him, but I think he really wants him to stay, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does stay a Rebel.
Well, you never want to have a player in a position where he's going to be arrested for anything. But as far as arrests go, it's not that he was in the worst situation. This wasn't a domestic violence situation. This wasn't any kind of armed robbery, assault situation. He essentially, from what it sounds, and again, the details are a bit sketchy at this point. We're getting things from all sides. But it sounds like he jumped into a cab and was drunk. He, for whatever reason, was a bit, what's the word here? He just kind of out of control in the back of the cab.
He's acting a fool, I believe, is the,
right.
yeah.
So much so that the cab driver basically just wanted him out of his cab. So he drove him to the police station to get him out. And once he got there, the conversation got a bit heated. Morgan decided, let me go jump in this squad car and drive away in that, not realizing that's not something you can do. And then from there, tried to jump into a pedestrian vehicle as a passenger. I don't know, maybe assuming he was jumping into an Uber ride. So, I mean, really just kind of drunk and disorderly. Doesn't sound like there was any violence involved. Nothing too egregious, but he was arrested for disorderly conduct.
All right, guys.
So it is a situation,
all right,
nonetheless.
I'm going to put you guys in this position. You're Marvin Menzies. What type of punishment?
Well, we talked about this earlier. We don't know what type of punishment Menzies. We don't know what kind of
his
disciplinarian
style is,
Menzies is going to be when it
Well,
comes
just
to this,
say you're the
because we
head
really
coach
had
here.
nothing going on
Is it
last
some
year.
games, suspended start of the season?
Yeah,
4 or 5 games,
I think you have to do that. I think he has to have some sort of punishment if he stays on the team. Maybe it's 10 games. Maybe it's 5.
10.
I'd like to. Well, yeah,
That would be
and
big,
10
yeah.
would be harsh, but
Yes.
maybe he wants to set a precedent.
Right.
Maybe it's 5. I don't think.
I think 5 is
a 2-game suspension would be pretty light
hefty,
to
right?
me.
Yeah,
The thing
2
working
games
in
would be
Morgan's
But maybe he
favor.
serves nothing. Maybe, you have a press
That's-
conference and he apologizes and he says, I'm sorry, and then we all kind of move on.
Goes to
Right.
some counseling.
The
and
thing
things
working
of
in
that
Morgan's
nature.
favor is it's May.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
May. The season doesn't start
Yes.
until November. So by the time we get to that point, assuming nothing comes of this more than what it is, which is just disorderly conduct, maybe he does some community service and it goes away. By the time we get to November, how many people are even concerned with it by that point? That could
Right.
weigh heavily on Menzies' decision for discipline.
Yeah, this is not a mid-season
Right,
foul up.
right.
This is a way before the season foul up.
Remember, there are a lot of rumors about Chase Jeter perhaps transferring to UNLV. He has opted to transfer to the University of Arizona. Former 5-star recruit who averaged 2 points and 2 assists per game under Mike Krzyzewski. He never really got the minutes there. You have to wonder how he's going to fit into an Arizona season, but he'll be out for the season and he'll be back in a year from now.
There's still a scholarship over, too.
UNLV is.
Yeah, and Menzies hasn't tipped his hand, and obviously he won't until he has to, so we might be waiting a while for that to play out. But, if Dwayne stays, he's got some maneuvering to do, and I believe at this time, at this juncture, they don't think they're going to get another kid, but maybe another kid pops up on the radar, and again, they might be in a bigger pickle and be a couple scholarships over. So we'll stay on top of that as it develops.
Congratulations to UNLV's recent graduates within the last week, including, I saw a nice tweet from Shaq Lawrence, who played football for UNLV, now plays in the CFL for the BC Lions, but he stuck to it, continued to go to school, take his classes, and he has a college degree from UNLV, which is really nice to see. About 70 or so student athletes graduated in this class. Did you have to cover any of the graduation?
Now, I had students that wanted me to go, but I know what college graduations are, so I was like, no, that's okay. I tuned into the live stream for about 5 minutes and then said, okay, congrats to my students. Mike Bibby, a UNLV graduate.
I saw that.
How about that? Now that I would have went down for. If I would have known that, I found out about that after the fact. I would have liked to have tracked him down to speak with him. But yeah,
Still in Arizona, kids. I like that.
yeah.
Bring the
There you
Wildcats
go.
over
There
here,
you go.
make them Rebels.
Yeah.
I should have asked Tommy White about this next topic here. I was driving yesterday down Paradise, and I was held up in traffic because construction trucks were pulling in to that site, Jackie Robinson's all-net basketball arena, where that site is at. I finally had a chance to look inside, so I looked inside there, and there's movement in there. I
Really?
guess.
I drove
there-
past it the other day, and I told the buddy I was with, I'm like, yeah, that's never going to get off the
Well,
ground.
there's
there's
piles
trucks
of
there.
There's piles of dirt, and there's trucks going in and out, construction trucks, cement trucks, and there was some piping, and some steel girders, that was down on the ground.
There's just stuff lingering
There's
around.
stuff, there's stuff inside there.
Construction-esque stuff
Can we say
being
that there's
thrown around
movement?
the site.
Can we say that there's movement?
It may be legit, or it may be like hey, let's, the bank's going to stop by. Let's make sure that there's trucks moving around.
I know, but
that could be an angle too.
and then-
But yes, that's
yeah.
better than no movement at all. You're
Coincidentally,
absolutely right.
then I saw someone on Twitter, putting something. It looks like they're starting to do some work, at that Jackie Robinson site. And I was like, oh, wow. So I responded. I was like, I just was by there today.
Yeah.
And I actually looked in there because I was cut off by a truck and coming out of there. And there's definitely, we'll have to keep an eye on that and talk more about that. Guys, should we do some final thoughts here?
Yeah, sure.
All right,
Sure.
Matt, you want to go?
Oh, no, I'm going to let John go.
Because he's poised. He seemed like he's ready to go.
Yeah, no, apparently it wasn't important enough for, my guys to talk about. Am I looking at the right camera? This camera. Okay.
The beard. Oh, the beard.
We can talk about the beard. I think it's filling in nicely. Please, I welcome all comments. Only good comments, of course. Mayweather, McGregor. McGregor's side is done, and Matt's just like chomping at the bit to see or hear me say that, I can't wait for this fight. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so great for boxing. Yeah, I know it's going to be terrible for boxing, Matt. I understand that. I would not pay to see this fight. I want it to go through. I would pay for one aspect of this. I would pay to witness the press conference between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor right before the fight. That's what I would pay to see, because you know that those two are the two best trash talkers almost of all time. We're talking Ali-esque, and I'm honest with that. Now, granted, I didn't grow up in Ali's time, but I know what kind of trash he talked. These two are the best at it, and this press tour that these two are going to go at it, that is going to be worth the price of admission if they ever charge for that. And I could see it. Maybe we have our first pay-per-view press conference. Probably not, because it's all going to go into the $100 pay-per-view of the fight, which, again, I will not pay for, but I cannot wait. And we're a ways away from this negotiation. I get it. Mayweather saying today, you got to remember, you're the B side, I'm the A side. The same broken record that he does 8 million times in his career. I get it. But it's the same thing over and over. But I would pay. I don't know how much I would pay, but I would pay to hear them go back and forth if this thing happens. And that's what I'm hoping for.
Man. I mean,
argue with that.
Okay, I will.
What?
This is
Wait, final thoughts. Sorry, there's no arguments.
No argument.
Well, then my final
Yeah,
thought's
you
going to be
can, you can have your own thought.
just let me get this out. This isn't a reality TV show. This is a fight. This is a fight between world class.
I want the last word.
World class fighters. You can have it, and we don't have to do final thoughts here. We can just make this a discussion. This is a fight between a guy who is one of the best pound for pound MMA fighters, and somebody who claims to be the best boxing champion of all time, even though we all know he's not. He's in the discussion. One of the best boxers of all time. You're putting them in a boxing ring for what is nothing more than a spectacle. You're trying to bill it as being a legitimate fight, as a legitimate show, when it's nothing more than an exhibition, and that's all it's ever going to be. Everything building up to that is just going to be reality TV. There's no way I want to pay for reality TV.
But what's wrong with that?
Because it's building towards what's supposed to be a great fight, and we all know it's not going to be.
Oh,
so
who said it's going to be a great fight?
What's the point?
But I never said it's going to be a great fight. I know it's going to be a terrible fight.
But I don't see the point to watching these two knuckleheads stand in front of each other.
Because it's going to be
and
entertaining.
Bark at each other.
It's going to be entertaining.
So
That's
that
why
they
I would
can
pay
go
for
in
it.
and dance around each other for 12 rounds in what's probably going to be the most boring event of 2000 and whatever the year is they decide to fight. I refuse. I refuse to put a single dollar towards
So you would
any
not
of that.
watch that press conference?
Absolutely not.
I think you're just standing on your
hate
soapbox and on
everything
your
about
laurels.
this. You know why I hate everything about this fight? Because I want to see Mayweather, if he's going to come back, come back and fight the best. Don't come back and fight somebody who's not even in your own sport.
I agree. But if this is going to happen, I want to see the freaking press conference, and I don't want to see the fight.
I don't at all.
Tony,
I don't know if you
are we back in the knighthood?
No. It might stick, though, if someone doesn't steal it. Well done story by the Bleacher Report yesterday on Bryce DeJean Jones. I don't know.
I did
if you
not
guys
read
saw
it.
If you did not,
But I
please,
heard it
it's
was great, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a must-read. It's just very concise. Has a lot of details what happened, what led to his tragic death in Dallas. Now, like a year later, BDJ was one of those players who was intense, just an interesting player, one of the more interesting players to don a UNLV running Rebel jersey. He was always told to walk away from situations, and never did. And I think in the end, that's pretty much what did him in. Justin Hawkins quoted as saying he was a really good kid. Hawkins played high school basketball with him and then played with him here at UNLV. But he always had a fiery side. Almost, again, a year anniversary, a year to his death. Tragic story, really, if you didn't hear, just don't want to chronicle the whole thing. But he went to the wrong apartment after an argument with his girlfriend, shot and killed by the occupant, who was 22 years old. You also hear his side of the story on what went down that night. Obviously a talent gone way too soon, and was shot, as the man claimed it was in self-defense. We remember Bryce DeJean Jones, an athlete who just could not walk away. And I also want to end on this note, guys. Congratulations to us and to Rick Strasser on our 1-year anniversary here on the Sports Adrenaline LV show. And it's been a lot of fun working with you guys. And
It's a blast.
Thanks.
Every week.
I work with some talented guys here on the show. We started off, right? We did a little radio podcast in the studio down the hall, and we continue to evolve. And our producer extraordinaire, Rich Giacovino, has really
He's responsible for
guided
it all,
us.
right?
Yeah,
We're just the talent.
He put us together. You guys are talent. I don't know, but he put us together, and we gelled from day one. And I really appreciate being around you guys. Not to get syrupy here, but I really do enjoy. And we started a few months ago of doing this every week, and so it's become a part of our lives, and it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Rich has done a great job, and you can see how the studio's evolved. If you've tuned in, I know my mom's watched every week. Your wife has watched every week.
absolutely.
So they know how things have changed along with us. But big things are coming here. I did, not to prolong the show, but any final thoughts about anything that Tommy White said? I just like that, again, Raiders are up and up. And the more that I'm hearing this, the more that I trust them, and I want to trust them. So I'm hoping that UNLV gets taken care of. That's the next top priority, and that the infrastructure around the stadium gets taken care of.
I like what he said about being in contact with Mark Bedane and the Raiders for the last year plus, that every week, 2-3 times a week, they've been involved, they've talked to each other. This has been a joint effort going forward to make sure that the right people are in place to get the stadium done. I think it's all positives.
And I feel as though whether or not he wants the responsibility, he is the man. He is the point man. Do you see is there any other union representation on this 9-member stadium committee? I don't think so.
He's the one.
And he's the one that has to make this really move, keep it on schedule. And we really appreciate Tommy White, Laborers Union Local 872, taking us back to the Hoover Dam days. It was awesome. We thank everyone for tuning in tonight here on shootsandgoogles.com on the Sports Adrenaline LV show. And thanks again to Tommy. Rick Strasser was unable to be with us tonight, and Matt Gutierrez, John Castanino, and for our producer, Rich Giacovino, I'm Tony Cardasco saying so long for now. Have a great night.
Thank you.